Here's a very small, condensed list of things people do out in public, or maybe even within my own fucking family, that I consider rude. If you're one of these perpetrators, fuck you. And you too. Yes. This one really drives me up a wall when I am at work, and that is when people come into the office and I know that they are standing behind me and they are lurking in my emails. They're just glancing over, peeping into whatever it is that I have on my computer. Unless you're invited to look at something, do not ever look at someone's screen. That is their phone, their computer. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's being discussed. You don't know what's being read. You're not the person signed into that computer. Whatever is there is none of your business. Stop looking at that stuff. All right? If there's something that you need to know, you will be told about it or you will be invited to see it. But unfortunately, when it comes to accessing computers, the computers that are immediately available are in heavy traffic areas. So what I end up doing most of the time is, if I'm dealing with something sensitive, which is most of the time that I'm in the computer, if I sense someone in the vicinity, I just minimize my window. I just wait for them to leave, because some stuff is just not anybody else's business. So to continue on, leaning over my shoulder or just leaning in to try to peep at my phone. Why do you do that? Why do you feel compelled to look at what's going on? It's okay to be curious, but there's some stuff that you shouldn't be curious about. I never think about looking at what's going on in other people's phones, and neither should you. It's just your phone is a personal object, so I feel like it's one of those things that's off limits. Would you actively go over to someone's wallet and stare at it if it's unzipped or something? I would hope that a wallet is not left unattended. It somehow is. Would you feel compelled to go over there and examine it? A phone is no different, especially now that phones have such sensitive information, like our banking stuff and whatever. I know it's usually backed up by passwords and stuff, but for real, just don't stand close to people anytime they're using their phones. Another relative to this phenomenon is reading over or glossing over your mail, like your actual physical USPS correspondence. Don't look at it. If you don't immediately recognize it as yours, don't look at it. It is against the law to be receiving or looking at other people's mail. So don't lurk in the area when someone is reading a letter unless you are invited into it. I don't know why that's so hard to grasp, but I have had guests over at my house who, let's say I happen to have some letters on the table. They are just fucking looking at my stuff. I hate that. I have never ever in my fucking life gone to someone's house and tried to look at what it is that their correspondence holds. You shouldn't care about that. It's not your business. So just don't fucking do it. If you are ever a guest in my house and I catch you doing that shit, you're out. That's why I hate having people over. Now this one is to the surprise of no one, but yes, because I am antisocial, I consider it very rude when people stand very close to me. And this is not because of the current situation that we're living in. I have always been like this. I really value my space. I cannot stand it when I feel like if I needed to stretch or something, if I were to bump into you, you're standing too close. Stop standing so close to people you don't know, especially when my back is turned. If we're in queue somewhere, don't be so close to me. I hate being able to even hear the person breathing behind me. I cannot describe it. It just makes me cringe, just uncomfortable. Don't do that. Just don't. This next one is absolutely one of the worst for me. When you're handling food, especially when the food is not covered, like there is no lid, there's no paper between you and the food, when you are talking over fucking food. At least now, during our current situation, we are required to wear masks. I was absolutely exultant when I realized the implications of such a mandate. I thought, this is finally paradise on earth for me when I'm out at restaurants. But it's still not fully satisfying me because there's monsters in this society who leave their nose exposed. So essentially, it's only working at like 50%. Whatever you do, have some common sense. Do not talk over uncovered food, or better yet, don't talk over food, period. Whether it's covered or not covered, just don't do it. Don't do it. Even when you think that you're not spitting over it, you are. This one is another very abominable thing. When you're coughing and sneezing and you don't even make an attempt to cover yourself. Nowadays, with people wearing drapery over their mouths and nose 50% of the time, people think it's okay to not try to cover your face when you're sneezing or coughing. Sure, having the facial drapery does something, but you have to reinforce it with the classic gesture of sneezing into your elbow or this area. There are people who, even before the current situation that we are in, you used to not do that. And in addition, now, because I understand that this is uncomfortable, but you may not have an extra drapery on you, you think it's okay to remove your facial drapery to let the force of your nasal cavity expelling stuff make it to the air. That defeats the purpose. At least I don't see it as much nowadays. But when this whole thing first started, I used to see people go like, and then, achoo. And like, you're defeating the purpose. But I also understand how, if you're someone who's at work and you're not supplied with many of those things, then yeah, I cannot blame you, because I wouldn't want to be walking around with snot over my mouth all day long. But still, do the best that you can to conceal it somehow. If you have to sneeze into your jacket or into your clothes and then change later, just do it. That's why it's always wise to carry an extra set of clothes. But I would rather you do that than let it happen in the air, especially when there's people in the vicinity. And last, but certainly not least, when you are out and about in public and you think it is not obnoxious to play a video or listen to music without headphones. Don't nobody want to hear that unless you're at your house or maybe your car. Just a place in private. Don't do that mess. Nobody wants to hear the mess coming from your phone. And if you're at my house, if you're a guest at my house, I expect that as well. At least turn down the volume. Some of you really like to have the volume so high to the point that your eardrums can hardly take it. Just wear headphones. And if you're going to wear headphones, try to not blare them, because some people really listen to headphones maxed out. And that's equally annoying. But fortunately, that doesn't happen quite as much. I feel like it used to happen more when I was in school. Well, there you guys have it. That is the list of the immediate things that I had to let out of my system that I have observed warily often nowadays. And I feel like if I talk about it, I may let it go a little sooner. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know if there's some stuff that you wish to share that bothers you as well, and we can make this comment section an official bitching comment section because I want to hear all about it.